we knew that Mike Leach and his team were going to probe every weakness, and we found out Friday night or Saturday morning that Derek Stingley was not going to be able to play in this game, and that changed everything. And I don't think of it as an excuse so much as it's just reality when there are players that are playing that would not have played as much if Stingley played, when there are players playing in positions that they would not have played had Stingley played, and when there are players that are having to play in times place they hadn't even practiced had Stingley played. So next man up sounds wonderful, but Derek Stingley's an All-American, and when they had to change personnel and change assignments, and you play right into the teeth of what Mike Leach wants to do, which is throw the football, that's tough.
Right. No, it is tough, and I will tell you, I'm not sure how much Stingley would have changed it from this sense that I think Leach would have targeted, again, went away from Stingley and targeted other people, and we'll talk about conceptually what he did. But I'm with you in that all of a sudden Darren Evans has to play. You have to bump some people around. It's not what you practiced. Jay Ward had been limited leading up to it with an injury. He's finally getting back to 100% health. So you were definitely vulnerable. So I'm with you on personnel. That being said, when we get into the film breakdown, schematically, I just thought it was a bad matchup for what Mike Leach does, and we'll talk about that later.
On the other side of the ball, it was the first start for Miles Brennan. You look at the stat line, and you're well over your 345 yards. You throw 3 touchdown passes. You did throw the 2 interceptions. One's on the last play of the game, but you saw him do some things that you understand the arm strength and his grasp of the position. Other times, it looked like he was tentative, more reluctant to let go of the football. Took a lot of sacks, took 7 sacks in the game. They weren't all on him. The protection was spotty as well. Thought Steve got away from the run game a little bit in the first half. A lot more first down passes than runs. Ordinarily, I'm a big fan of that, but in this case, I think they balanced a little bit better in the second half, and they had their opportunities. They're tied with 8 minutes to go, but not as fluid, not as smooth as you would have hoped. But it's a first game.
His first game, and I think that when I look at him on offense, obviously I see a watered-down version of what they did last year with some things, and we'll get into that. One of the big things that jumped out at me besides the run game, as we talked about on Monday on Hanging with Hester and Hanny, was the absence of motion. And when you see the wide cut of the game and the way that they called it, I'm wondering. And, of course, I'm down in those meeting rooms, that they really watered this down and tried to keep it as simple as possible with Miles Brennan. So definitely there's a learning curve on that side of the football, and you're right. They scored enough points in the second half that I think if the defense wouldn't have gave up a record performance, this might have been a different outcome.
And the special teams, we saw Zach Von Rosenberg really kind of keep them in the game field position-wise in the first half, and the rest of it, no major gaffes anywhere. York made his kicks. They had one return from Mississippi State. They got out past the 40-yard line, but for the most part, solid special teams work.
Yeah, so special teams were fine.
Lots of interesting stuff in the league. All of the big favorites that you had in the league: Alabama, Texas A&M, LSU, Georgia. Almost you run the full gambit. Alabama won and won impressively. Georgia won but struggled for a half. A&M won and struggled the whole game, and LSU lost. Yeah. So you got a little bit of everything there as we head into week 2. I'm trying to get my mind around the idea that Auburn and Georgia are playing in week 2 of the season, but we'll get to that when we get to around the SEC. We're brought to you by LaBerge, Baton Rouge. Of course, the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. Monday nights, half off margaritas, draft beer, and nachos. Thursday nights, buy 1 tower beer, get a tower beer half off. And lunch specials Monday through Thursday. These are guests who are veteran military or 50-plus years of age. Get 25% off their lunch or dinner purchase during normal business hours. That's at the Bon Ton Buffet and the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. So as we move on to week number 2, let's talk about the mental aspects of it first. It's been a long time since they lost a game around here, so let's start there.
Yeah, you get punched in the face. I mean, that's what. How are you going to react? It's been a long time since they've lost a football game. Obviously, you were a big favorite. You're expected to win, and in the fashion that you lost this football game, and you're turning around to go up to Nashville to play Vanderbilt. And for the people that were on this team last year, It was a 63-38. It wasn't much of a ball game. It was a track meet. You kind of rubbed it in their face a little bit.
The only thing that went wrong the whole day was they ran out of vodka for the screwdrivers before the game.
They ran out of everything. Well, we won't have that problem this year because nobody's going to be in the damn stands.
Sure.
But so now you have to get up for probably the team that looking at the schedule early on was probably, a lot of people's opinion, the weakest team on your schedule. And they're not quite as bad as they were a year ago. Obviously they played Texas A&M pretty good on the road in College Station. So I'm with you. I think mentally, where is this team with so many new people, newcomers? How are they going to react?
Second thing is personnel. Good news is Stingley was back at practice this week. Ogeron expects him to play. Bad news is they won't have Glenn Logan for the second straight week. He will be back from Mizzou. And Dare Rosenthal at left tackle. Ogeron called in his radio show just last hour, very doubtful. So we're probably going to see Cam Wire get his first start at left tackle. I didn't think I did maybe as good a job as I should have getting the news halfway through the pregame of saying just how big a loss Stingley would be. Maybe probably downplayed it more than I should have given. So I don't want to downplay the loss of a left tackle for one that is talented and was recruited pretty good, but who hasn't played at all.
Yeah, and Vanderbilt's a better defensive front than Mississippi State. I mean, I've seen enough on film. Mississippi State, that's the thing that we talk about Mississippi State. Mississippi State was not an elite defense a year ago, right? You have a new coordinator. They're adjusting. I mean, they piecemealed this thing together with transfers and some JUCO people. And obviously, they made enough plays and gave LSU enough fits in the first half of this football game. Vanderbilt's front seven, they're salty. Now, are they one of the best on the schedule? No, but they went into College Station and played a Texas A&M team that returned 17 starters, a quarterback, and forced 5 fumbles. I think you mentioned that. 3 of them they recovered and gave Kellen Mond fits.
499-9898 is the number to call. We're on Eagle 98.1. We're also on YouTube. If you want to watch us there, you get in on YouTube on the 104.5 ESPN page. We'll take an early call here from Charlie in Lafayette. Charlie, welcome into the Tiger Zone.
Hey, Charlie and Gordy. Great to hear from y'all. I think your post game you had a great post game on Saturday. Covered a lot of really good points. Give you kudos for that, the C-Bob. But one thing I like to talk about, I know they're talking about stuff, but there's a thing, I call it the National Championship curse. And I was going back through 1958, they won the national title. The next year they finished number 3, so it wasn't too bad. In 2003, they won the national title and then finished with a loss in the Citrus Bowl at 9-3. In 2007, they win the national title, and then they end up unranked at 8-5 and beat Georgia Tech in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And so now they win the national championship in 19, and now they drop the first game to Mississippi State. I'm hoping this curse doesn't continue. That'd be a nice thing if they could do put them together, kind of back to back, or even better seasons and stuff like that. There's really nothing, to it, or it's all coincidental, but it's something I've noticed, on that. So, y'all covered a lot of other stuff, and everything ad nauseum. So I just thought I would kind of bring this thing up and let y'all have some fun with it.
All right. Thank you, Charlie. The first thing I'll tell you is that the four different teams that you're talking about have almost nothing in common. The 58 team in 59, probably the surviving members there, and some of them that have passed who told us this before, they did pass, will tell you that Billy Cannon got in Knoxville, and they should have repeated. In the second game they lost to Ole Miss in the rematch of the bowl game, they voted not to go, and they ended up going anyway. In 2004, I think you had some inconsistency at quarterback. You had 2 quarterbacks that were back and forth. It was Marcus Randall, it was Jamarcus Russell. They never quite got in sync. They had lost a good bit from the 2003 team, but I thought the inconsistency at quarterback was one of the things that year. 2008, they were planning on having Ryan Perrilloux at quarterback. Yeah. And if they had, I would have been very curious to see how that had turned out. As it was, they ended up playing 3 quarterbacks that year. They ended up playing 2 quarterbacks in 2004. And when you play that many quarterbacks, it's generally because one of them didn't, kind of grasp things and go forward. 2012 though, the Alabama game was the backbreaker because they had Alabama beat, and if they win that game, they're probably they're going to the SEC championship game, and if they win that game, they're going to the national title game.
Right.
So the 2012 team was really, really good. And that one doggone screen pass that went to the house that beat them. So this year, you have, first of all, it's very difficult to repeat for all the things we've talked about a lot. But this team in no way resembles last year's team. I mean, almost everybody. Think about who started in the national championship game, who started on Saturday, okay? Jacoby Stevens, Austin Deculus, Terrace Marshall, we're going to call him a starter, third receiver on that team. And who else that started the national championship game? Now, a lot of those
you could make an argument for Ed Ingram, but
Ed Ingram is, there's experience around it. Todd Harris was a starter for a little while. Okay, Ed Ingram was a starter 2 years ago. Chasen Hines has started some games. Chris Curry started in the playoff game. He didn't start in the national championship game. So, but this is a very, very different team than the one from a year ago.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, and I don't like to look back at those, those
I'm
hangovers,
here for your historical perspective.
Right.
Yeah.
That's more your ballpark. Look, I think not only it's a different football team, but it's obviously unique circumstances with COVID, with this schedule, and you don't get a chance to play Texas, San Antonio, and work all these kinks out before you play that big one. And you sputtered in the first half. Look, there's still a lot of question marks out there, and I'm with you. To focus in on this team and where they have to clean things up to go win at Vanderbilt. I mean, let's. I know you said the line's 20, which kind of surprises me, and I think LSU's going to win this football game. But based off that performance and the way that Vanderbilt played, I'm kind of scratch my head.
Kevin is in Ville Platte. Kevin, welcome into the Tiger Zone.
Charles Gardy, good evening. Hey, two quick things. First of all, the ball that Costello dropped, that was ruled an incomplete pass. I wanted your opinion if they got the right call. And second, with about 20 seconds left at the end of the game, what about kicking the field goal first, then hoping to get the onside kick, leaving yourself more time to take some shots at the end zone?
Yeah.
I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm going to let you take the catch because I know you've looked at the film multiple different angles and stuff. I'll tell you that I thought your chances of winning the game if you kick the field goal and then hopefully the onside kick and get the touchdown, or maybe 2 in 100, and that might be generous. And if you try to go for the touchdown and then kick the extra point, kick the extra point and the onside kick and go for the field goal, they might be 1.5 or 2.5 to 100. So, listen, your chances of winning the game either way aren't great. If they would have, I see it both ways. If they would have kicked the field goal, I'd have been fine with that. But their chances of winning were still probably under 2%.
Look, they both were remote, right? Yeah. And I'm not going to spend time on that argument. I've seen it. I've heard it. I thought the Costello, I thought it was a fumble real time, but when they stopped the booth stopped it in Birmingham, and being up there and seeing it, I think when you learn from these guys that when you slow that thing down and you take it out of real time, it was obvious that he was making a forward motion, one. And the second part of it, and it really doesn't matter the facial expressions, and you saw that probably on TV better than I did, that he was trying to bring it down. And that's what it looked like, he was trying to bring it down. Regardless, the arm was moving forward. I think by the rule, that was the correct call. It's not the call LSU fans wanted to hear.
He's not making a pass, but the arm is. If the arm's coming forward, It doesn't matter if he's got a grip on it or if it's in any way catchable or what he meant to do. If he's got the ball in his hand and his arm is coming forward, then that's it. It's a pass. And yeah, if you see his face, it's like, oh bleep. Okay, yeah. He knew that he was in trouble, and he had no intention of completing that pass or no chance to complete that pass. But yeah, his arm's coming forward.
It was a pivotal call in the game, and again, I think once they sent it back to Birmingham, they looked at it, the ref looked at it, and that's the rule, and they went with it.
499-9898 is the number to call, and of course you can get with us in the chat, the Bayou Ford chat on YouTube. 104.5 ESPN is the page that you can get there. We're brought to you by LaBerge Baton Rouge, beginning on Thursday, October the 1st, which is, tomorrow. Become a new My Choice member at LaBerge and win your choice of $10 in free slot play, free bets, or food credits at LaBerge Baton Rouge. This is the Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone presented by LaBerge Baton Rouge. We're every Monday night in the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. Enjoy half-off margaritas, draft beers, and nachos. Thursday nights, buy one Tower beer, get another Tower beer half off. And That is at the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill every Monday and Thursday here during the football season. You can chat with us in the YouTube chat and also on Facebook, brought to you by you Ford. And you can call us at 499-9898, which Earl has done in Baton Rouge. Earl, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie, thank y'all for taking my call.
Sure.
So I had some concerns, about the defense. We were trying to play man-to-man, without playing zone. Do y'all think that can be a problem, going forward throughout the rest of the season?
Okay, this is a good jump-off point. Earl, thank you for the call. This is a good jump-off point into your film study, which was, the wide cut, and you can take a look at what exactly happened back there.
Well, look, 90%, I think, of the snaps, LSU was in some sort of variety of man coverage. Most of the time, it was man-free. Somebody was dropping back to free safety, and LSU was playing man. Most of the time, they were playing man with both corners on the outside up in press coverage. And so a couple of thoughts. One, what happened is LSU didn't disguise and really hide it too much, that we're coming after you and this is what we're going to do. And you had feast or famine. And in this game, you had more famine than you had feast. You certainly had some feast with the turnovers, the sacks, the pressures, and all the above. And Costello was a gunslinger. The problem, and where LSU ran into, is that the technique was just poor in terms of man-to-man coverage. And I illustrated through CST. I mean, the ability to, I can go through, Evans obviously had a rough afternoon where just his technique, his ability to get out of press was bad. I mean, he got beat off the line. Ricks made some rookie mistakes. He got caught twice peeking. You play man-to-man, Charlie, I'm watching you. I got to be able to see you and the quarterback. At no point they ran a mesh route in which the receiver drifted on him and he lost contact with him. I go back to the last touchdown. Jay Ward is playing man-to-man at 5 yards off the line of scrimmage. This was after the timeout. I was always told you play off at 7 or you're going to play press. He was in no man's zone. The receiver ran outside of him, and he didn't turn his hips and run till the receiver was 2 yards past him. So the technique was not good. I thought the front seven, by and large, played pretty well. One other thing I'll jump at you, and things they didn't prepare for that Leach schemed them, is that a lot of times that Jabril Cox was responsible in man coverage for the running back, Kylan Hill, and Hill was on the right side of the formation, and Cox was on the left. He was already at a 4 or 5 yard chase position before he ran that flare route out of the backfield. Here's the bigger question that I would ask, right? And I'm not in the rooms and what have you. Is it everybody in the Pac-12 figured out how to play Mike Leach? Okay? Everybody played what we call a stick zone. And what they're going to do is keep the ball in front of you and just beat the living crap out of the wide receivers every time they want to run these mesh routes.
This is a shell, basically.
Right, basically a shell defense, and you're just going to come up and pop them and pop them and pop them. And LSU's got sizable defensive backs, so we've got linebackers they can run and all the above. Costello, as we saw, a little bit loose with it. And, interesting enough, I went back and looked at see how many times Ogeron had faced Leach. 2013, Washington State went to the Coliseum and won 10-7, and that was the year that Kiffin got let go, and O eventually replaced him, and that was Kiffin, still the head coach. It was a 10-7 football game. It was early in Leach's tenure at Washington State, and so I don't understand why so much press, man free, don't disguise it against the kind of the textbook of way to handle this is keep the ball in front of him, and when they get to the red zone, the field shrinks and make them kick field goals.
Is there anything to this theory? Bo Pelini wakes up Saturday morning and he knows Stingley's not going to be able to go. Now he knows a couple of things. Number one, Jay Ward's got to play, and Jay Ward hadn't really practiced all that much. Yep. He's coming off the injury, and according to Derek Stingley Sr. on Off the Bench this week, he wasn't even scheduled to dress until Stingley Jr. was ruled out of the game. That Evans had to play was a lot more than he was going to. That Flott had to play on the outside rather than in the slot, and this is not where he's practiced all week. So I've got 2 or 3 guys that are going to be on the field for me a lot. Either having not practiced, having been here very long, or playing in a position that they haven't practiced all week, I got to keep it simple. If I try to throw something else at them, I may make things worse. Is there anything to that?
You can't play. My thing, if you can't play two or cover 4 quarters,
Yeah. That's
to
what
me,
I thought. I just thought I'd ask.
And look, and I'm old now, right? So I grew up playing zone, right? And the kids today grew up playing man. And so sometimes zone is a little bit harder. I just maybe but I'm just surprised that you go into a game against Mike Leach with young, inexperienced corners, and you're going to put him and play that much press, knowing that he's going to mess you to death. And so I don't know. We weren't in the locker room.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But the textbook, and you can go on YouTube and talk about people how defending Mike Leach's offense. And you can go see the way that Washington did it the last 4 to 5 years, and go back and look at the scoreboard and what they did. And you know, it's a stick zone with a shell above it. You guys had Matt Flynn on and talked a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And certainly, you know, at what point on this record 632 do you start changing things up? And so that's what I see on film. That being said, Vanderbilt ain't that team. You're not going to have the same Jeremy Stevens isn't going to be in the Jacoby Stevens, right, is not going to be in the tackle box in this game, right? They're going to play more of a conventional thing. So you got a different personnel. You don't need to play all that bump and run. So I think we'll see something different this week.
Did Ricks get better as the game went along? Because this is a very highly rated guy that we did expect to play. And in the first half, we see him undercut a route that ends up getting behind him for a touchdown. But in the second half, we saw him play the ball on a very nice play that he makes an interception.
Yeah, I think he played as a true freshman that is now playing one of the best offensive minds in college sports, college football. And this is what he's facing. He's facing this at a pace, a tempo that he hasn't seen before. And he's getting mesh, and go. Mesh, and go, where you've really got to be disciplined. And he made a rookie mistake in that route in which they go man-to-man. It's a mesh route. He looks back at the quarterback, and the receiver drifts, and Costello leads it because he's got a wide-open field, and they happen to have some sort of combination coverage that brought the safety to the middle of the football field that left her an open lane there. So, I mean, but that's the point. Patrick Peterson, when he played as a true freshman, his technique was not great. He was just raw. And that comes back to, hey, I know this is, if I do this, Leach will do this. Do I want to put myself at this much risk?
And you had a lot of time before the game. You had a double camp, a triple camp almost. That's what makes it hard for me not to allow for a contingency like, well, wait a minute, you lost Stingley. Well, Stingley could have turned an ankle on the first play of the game. You know, he could have got a concussion on the second drive. That they didn't have a plan B that was any better than that is a little bit concerning.
I would have understood missed tackles more than breakdown and coverage and what have you. And so, I mean, that's my observation. I'm not in that coach's meeting to see why they did that. And you may be right. It was easier for them just to play. We're going to play man free, and we're going to get after him and do all of the above. But it just when Mike Leach says he was surprised to see that much press coverage because nobody plays it.
Brought to you by LaBerge Baton Rouge, My Choice member, starting tomorrow. If you become a new My Choice member at LaBerge, you'll get your choice of a free slot play, a free bet, or food credit. All of that starting tomorrow at LaBerge. This is the Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1. You know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community without being asked? We think that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust. If you know someone who exhibits all of these qualifications, nominate them for a Good Citizen Award, and they could receive $500 from Citizens Bank. And we'll recognize them here on the show. Get the details at citizensbankandtrust.com and then nominate your good citizen.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Eagle 98.1.
Back here on the Tiger Zone, presented by LaBerge, Charles HANAGRIFF, and Gordy Rush. Good to be with you again this week. We're brought to you by LaBerge, where it's 25% off lunch Monday through Thursday for all active or veteran military or those over 50 years of age. That's good at the Bon Ton Buffet and the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill. We are taking your questions in the YouTube chat, brought to you by Bayou Ford, and also on Facebook Live, so you can get those into us, or you can call us at 499-9898. Let's move on to the offensive side of the ball. What overall thoughts to open up here?
See, I'm more concerned about the offense than the defense. I think the defense gets fixed by personnel, getting Stingley back, all of the above, right? And I think they'll learn from this game. You know, I mean, I think offensively, trying to find an identity in I think who LSU's trying to be, and that's still out there, right? And the change of quarterback has certainly affected, to me, what the game that Steve / Linehan called, and that didn't see as many bunch packages, didn't see the pre-snap motion, right? And obviously, in my opinion, and again, not in those meetings, that some of it's got to do with Brennan. And when you look at the film, I think they got to the line of scrimmage. Mississippi State did a nice job, and let's give State credit on both sides of the football. They executed at a high level, and they played well. They lined up, showed one thing, and so many times they were able to change into something else. And so watching it on film, it looks like LSU made a call based off what they were showing the first time, and Brennan was running with it. And that means one or two options, because I didn't see him go through the progressions that Drew Brees does. They didn't do the motion, so there was no need. I guess they didn't feel like there was a need to tip him off.
You meant Joe Burrow, right?
I said, well, Drew Brees and Joe Burrow. I'm sorry, Brees, Burrow. When you look at that Saints offense and you see what the LSU ran, you had all the motion. You had all the movement. Yeah. That was done for a reason. Once you motion, the defense is going to tip off. Are we playing man or are we going to play in zone? Light goes off on the quarterback. This is what I'm seeing, right? And they did the check with me's too. But everybody was on the same page. And because you didn't see that, I assume that they were just going pre-snap and here's the call and we're going to run with it. And I thought State did a great job of jumping a lot of the underneath routes and things like that. And then it becomes a guessing game. You're guessing what they're lining up pre-audible, and you're rolling with that call. I was surprised that LSU wasn't able to run the football more effectively until the second half. And I think the big takeaway, obviously the passing game, the attention to detail was not there like it was a year ago. Some of that personnel, right? New personnel. Some of that was just attention to detail. Terrence Marshall doesn't run that slant route or Chase or Jefferson a year ago. And there's even a question of whether or not that slant route is going to be short or near the first down marker to get a measurement, because it's run at the same distance with the little flipper arm into the defensive back. And when you see the amount of drop balls, and that jumped off the table in me. And again, it's not tackling, it's not blocking. We're talking about stuff that you can execute during COVID, throwing the football, and just to get your timing down. So a lot of work on that side of the football, more so in my opinion than the defensive side, regardless of what the statistics say.
Okay, so here's my first question is, in 2018, they dropped a lot of balls. Saturday, they dropped too many balls. Last year, they didn't drop any. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can count the number of drops really on one hand through 15 games. So you got the same wide receivers, Coach. You got the same OC. I know Brady's gone. I'm sure there may be a big deal made about that. I'm not sure if that's it. But we're just talking about straight catching the football. For a moment, we'll get away from techniques and scheme and all that. We're talking about catching the football. Why do they catch the football in 19? They don't catch the football in 18 as well as they could have, and they start off with a subpar game in that department here.
If let's have the Joe Brady conversation and get on down the road. I thought what Joe Brady did obviously brought this offense, right? And we've been through it. Steve called 70% of the plays. What Brady really did so well is he ran the pass periods, and he worked with the receivers, and he taught Mickey what they did down in New Orleans, and it was the attention to detail. Okay, I'm willing to put half of that on the fact that they were all newbies, new quarterback, mostly new receivers, -6. You with me on that?
Sure.
The other half, it just wasn't crisp. It wasn't crisp. And you remember Georgia Southern out the box.
First drive.
I mean, boom, 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 the whole game. So that's what jumped out at me. And then let's talk about Brennan. You watch him on film. I look at that film as if I'm a defensive coordinator. Charlie, if I got the personnel to do it, I'm coming. I'm coming because I'm coming, and I'm disguising a bunch just like Mississippi State did, because if I take away his first option, he's not going to do the checks. He's going to get flushed, and he's not the athlete. He's not athletic enough to make all those throws that Burrow made a year ago, and I hate going back to Burrow. But if I get him on the run, good things are going to happen to me defensively if I can take away that first or second choice.
Well, that's one of the things that he said himself was, what happened to him, and this was his response after the game when they asked him if he was holding the ball too long. I need this. Oh, hey, well, I need this. Thanks. Well, anyway, he said they were taking away his first, second option. We'll get our audio.
Did they? Okay.
He said, they were taking away my passing lanes, I think was the exact quote.
Yeah, they did. I thought they did a great job. They did a great job of disguising that, the 3-3-5, and what they were able to do in that second line. Talking about those two linebackers and the safety that they were able to do to get in his lanes. I thought they did an excellent job. I'm intrigued to see this matchup a little bit because Vandy's really good on the front seven. And I would absolutely get up there and try to take the run. What I will say this is that I thought Brennan looked most effective out of some sort of like a pistol. They didn't run a true pistol, but when it was play action zone, right, in between guards, and he was able to play action, freeze those linebackers. The 2 touchdown passes came out of that. There was another intermediate route. I forgot. I got it written down for CST. I thought he looked most effective in that sort of thing, more so than when you talk about the true Saints offense, right? Where you have the 2 receivers on one side, the 3 on the other, and all that good stuff. He just didn't look comfortable in the pieces, and they just ran elementary items of that.
When we talk about play calling, we always like to focus in on first down. But Steve made an adjustment at halftime.
Yeah.
First half, they run 14 first down plays, 10 passes, 4 runs, 71%. Second half, they run 24 first down plays, 14 passes, 10 runs. They back it down to 58%. Thought he looked more comfortable there.
No, there's no question. It was better in the second half, and I'm with you. And some of that, again, I think Steve was able to find something that Miles was more comfortable with, and that was within the pocket.
499-9898 is the number. Brad is in West Virginia. Brad, welcome into the show.
Hey, Charlie. Hey, Gordy. How y'all doing?
Good.
This is my first time calling in sober, so let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Hey, well, on game day, I usually don't drink during the week, so was it just me, or did anybody else feel like they were in the twilight zone a little bit? I mean, Mississippi State had a coach that I can't hate. I don't know. I just don't hate the guy. And then I found myself a couple of times during the game, like, hoping to see the I formation. I mean, it was just, I don't know, man. It was a surreal game. And let me ask you, why didn't we see number 4, that crazy heavy metal fullback guy, just because we don't run the formation?
Torrey Carter?
Yeah.
He actually did play a little bit in a couple of...
I saw him split out wide.
Yeah.
I just, I'm not sure where he fits in this. I'll tell you, this week, this game may need the help, right, in using him a little bit H-back role. The problem is you put him on the field, that means 2 has to come off the field. There's not too many times in this offense where you get 2 tights.
No, and 2 is Eric Gilbert is an unbelievable talent and a great pass catcher. The blocking needs some work by
no question.
Quite a bit.
It's funny you say that, because I'm rewatching the game right now. Had he caught his first pass, who knows where this game went? Because the momentum, you could just feel the air go out of when he dropped that pass. Anyway.
I think there were plenty more things that were going to happen in that game. LSU on defense.
Yeah, but I could just see Miles. He didn't convert that third down, and it was just like, I don't know. From that point on, his confidence started to dwindle.
Brad,
all right, guys, take it easy. I'll talk to y'all.
Thank you for the call. The play he makes on the ball in the end zone, Gilbert, we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he adjusts to the ball. He goes up and he gets it. I thought he bailed Brennan out a little bit.
No question.
On the play, there was a spirited debate on Twitter about, is that a good play or a bad play? And if Joe Burrow makes that play, we go ooh and ah, and Brennan makes that play, and everybody goes, oh, what a lucky blankety blank. But my thing was that I don't know that he saw Gilbert. Maybe he did, maybe he did. And I thought he was looking at Palmer, who was covered, but then Gilbert comes into the screen. He's going down. He lobs it up. It's a play that's inside the 5-yard line. You're down 3 points. You're about 5 minutes to go to the half. I kind of want to protect the field goal there rather than just heave one up. It worked out. But I understand the argument the other way, which is, man, we watched Burrow do this stuff and it always worked. And we watched Johnny Manziel do this stuff and it's like, oh, wow. And Brennan does this and he throws a touchdown and we're like, oh, you lucky, whatever. I was worried about in a 3-point game, 5 minutes to go to the break. I want to make sure it's a third down play. So I understand he's trying to make one. I kind of want to protect the points a little bit there. Look, but it worked out.
I mean, if it's an interception, everybody's going ballistic right now, right? The play worked out. I'm not going to get through all that. What I will say is going back and looking at the touchdown pass to Marshall. Were to the Marshall? Yeah, on the other side.
The long one was to
neither one of them were thrown quite like Miles can let it rip.
He didn't step into it.
And to me, I think that to characterize his performance, I thought he looked tentative.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an NFL arm. The thing that we talked about, I think that he brings to the table, he throws a incredible go route on the sideline, and he throws a back shoulder fade with a lot of mustard on it. And none of the ball, and you come back to that description about Gilbert, and you know, it just it just didn't inspire confidence, that throw. And that's where it's his first game, right? It's in the bus toss. I'm just telling you what I saw. But the thing is what I'm seeing on film, the defensive coordinator for Vanderbilt and Derek Mason are seeing on film. And you got a quarterback that looks tentative and shaky back there. I'm going to hit him.
We're brought to you by LeBear's Baton Rouge, the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill on Monday Night Football. A half-off margaritas, draft beer, and nachos. Thursday nights, buy one tower beer, get a tower beer half off. This is Tiger Zone, Eagle 98.1.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Eagle 98.1.
This is a Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1, brought to you by LeBear's Baton Rouge. Starting tomorrow, all new My Choice members get their choice of free slot play, free bet, or free food credit in the first 2 days of their membership. That's at LeBear's Baton Rouge. 499-9898 is the number. We're going to go to our chat on YouTube and Facebook here in just a second. But first, let's take a call from Bill in Falls River. Bill, welcome into the show.
Hey, good to have the gang back together.
Hey!
How are you, Bill?
Doing good. A couple comments and then a question. First, I heard all last week where Charlie and his buddy were saying that cover 2 was probably going to be the best defense, and don't know that we ever saw it. And was a little disappointed in that because that seems to have been probably the simplest adjustment we could have made. On offense, it looked like we went out of the pistol to the 5-man set and never adjusted or never went from the 5-man set into the pistol to help the lineman. And those are the two comments. The question I've got is Happy Feet is Brennan got. It seemed we could help the young man a whole lot if we would cut the field in half and give him some safety valves to go ahead and get his confidence level up. As already mentioned a little while ago, the kid's got one of the best arms probably in the country. Your thoughts on that, and I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks, Bill. So the cover 2 thing, let me take them in order.
Yeah.
That was something that Matt Flynn said. Matt Flynn was teammates with Graham Harrell in Green Bay for, I want to say, almost 3 seasons. And
Right.
Graham Harrell was a Texas Tech quarterback for Mike Leach. So Flynn knows the offense very well. He knows Harrell very well. They talked about it a lot. His take was the toughest thing on this is a cover 2 shell. And basically what you said at the beginning. And no, we didn't really see that on Saturday.
Yeah, and Mike Falgood writes in that I guess Derry Beckwith, I respect, was on Matt's show today, and he said switching the zone would most not likely not have made a difference defensively. It's much more difficult to play zone than man. In this day and age, it is because the kids play more man in zone. But that being said, I can teach my flag football team how to play zone, right? And the problem I have with it is that I'm looking at an ad now. If you Google how to defend Mike Leach's offense, this is well documented what teams are doing. You had plenty of time to get out there and scout to out there with the Pac-10 and see what they do. And I would have played some zone, right? You may not have wanted to play all zone, but LSU played man free. Every once in a while, they disguised who was going to be the free safety. But there was no doubt what they were doing on the edge. They were press. They were in your grill on the edge with both guys. And so if I'm Leach, it's fundamental because it's hard as a DB to go mesh where he's going in, he's going in, he's going in. Then I'm going to run a mesh and go step in, and then I'm taken to that house. And that's exactly what happened to Evans on that first touchdown. Kid stepped 1 step left. He went 3 in, and he had a 3-yard separation in that. And so I'll disagree with Derry. It is harder to teach zone than man, but you had 32 days to teach cover 2, right? And I come back to Mike Leach had 32 days to run 10 plays, and they ran them pretty good.
His second question was about sort of second and third were kind of in conjunction. Miles with a little bit of Happy Feet. I thought he held the ball too long. I think he thought he held the ball too long. And the lack, and we've got a little of this in the chat as well, the lack of safety valves. And I think we saw them check it down to the backs. It was 80 balls a year ago that the running backs caught. Edwards-Helaire caught 55 of those. And we didn't see very much of that on Saturday. In fact, Emory caught 3 balls, and that was it. Yeah. So where was that, or do we see more than that coming through next week?
And that's we'll see. We'll see the changes that they make. And Phil writes in at Facebook, Phil, I guess, Tittle, we're comparing the first game of a junior quarterback to senior Joe Burrow. I'm with you, right? But what I'm curious about is it wasn't a similar offense. There was 5 wides at times, and they spread the football field. But coming back to what this offense is known for is basically 2-man combinations, right? If you're going to put 5 out in the route, that on this front, if you got 2 receivers to the left, then Gilbert is going to run a curl, and if he's not there, you throw the swing pass to the running back. If it's not A, it's B. And to me, you're looking at it, Brennan was looking for A, and if A wasn't there, then the playbook's out the window. And it's a first game, and I'm with you. Where was the motion? Where was the movement and the things that we saw a year ago? I'm not in there, and maybe it was a case that the coaches just wanted to simplify it for him, being his first start.
425 yards is fine, okay? It's not record-setting. It's fine. The 2 interceptions, I'm almost going to give him a mulligan on the last one. The last one's desperation. So 1 turnover, and I can certainly live with that number too. This is really, though, 24 points because one of the touchdowns was a pick six. One of the field goals was set up by a turnover in which they go 3 and out and they get 1 yard. So the defense gave you 10 points. So 24 points is not what I'm looking for. 425 yards, yeah, I can get home with that.
And for me, it's the film, it's not the stats. It's the thing about, you look at it, and again, I had more questions on that side of the football than defensively. Defensively, you can go fix, and you're not playing Mike Leach next week. And I haven't seen, I have an idea what Missouri's going to do on offense and what Drink did at App State. But you're not going to see that, and you can correct that, and you get Stingley back.
Take some more of your questions when we come back. We're brought to you by LaBerge Baton Rouge. Again, Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, Monday nights, half off margaritas, draft beer, and nachos. Thursday nights, buy 1 Tower beer and get a Tower beer half off. This is the Tiger Zone, Eagle 98.1.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
When it's clearance time, smart customers rush to Richards Honda because all your favorite Honda models are at fantastic prices. And with our fanatical customer care, it's no wonder people call Richards Honda the smart choice.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, We've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance, with the latest in office technology.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone here on Eagle 98.1, brought to you by LeBear's Baton Rouge, starting tomorrow. All new members will get, with a My Choice card, get their choice of a free slot play, a free bet, or free food credit within the first 48 hours of your new membership. I'm going to go into our chat on YouTube.
Okay.
Here's one that I like. It says, it's not really a question, it's a statement, but I can turn it into one. It says, please no more read option. If the quarterback's not much of a threat to run, to pull it, and there were at least one or two times where it appeared from my vantage point that there was room to run, then you're better off going with some kind of stretch play, or, oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say this, just pitch the ball to running back, not necessarily pitch, not
toss dive,
not toss lead,
dive.
But if you're going to run, get the ball in the running back's hands a little bit faster. The quarterback has to be some threat to run. I'm not saying he's got to be Steve Young, but he's got to have some threat to run.
I like the pistol. I just like in between, in the A gap. Right, play action. He's comfortable there. The most confidence that he showed is that 3-step drop and setting his feet and delivering it there. I like him a whole lot better than same thing with the zone read to the right. If you're going to run the zone read and have that mesh point, he's not a threat to the right. Everybody's going to, nobody's going to account for him in the run game. I'm with you there.
Bayou Bengals says, what position group will have the most improvement after week 1, not counting Stingley's return?
Defensive backfield.
But you can't not count Stingley's return.
You're playing a true freshman group. You're gonna you were playing a bandit package in which your defensive line was Andre Anthony, Jacoby Stevens at a three tech. You had Ali Gay at one side and Namath Trevez Moore on the other side. There were times that you had no defensive linemen and times you had one defensive lineman on the football field. You're going to have to play with your 2 D tackles and get back to probably more base personnel against Vanderbilt. You didn't really play any base except maybe in goal line situation, short yardage goal line.
Can I go the other way and just say that the group I'm most concerned about from week 1 to week 2 is the offensive line? I had my concerns before, and now if Rosenthal is not going to play, which is what Ogeron insinuated during his show tonight, then you're at a left tackle. You're asking, it's an SEC game. I know it's Vanderbilt, but they had their moments last week against A&M. Now you're talking about a kid who didn't really play at all, okay? I think the last time they had an offensive lineman have to go on the road and make a start that hadn't played at all was Chasen Hines at Auburn, and he actually played really well that day. So, but it's harder to play tackle. I'm officially concerned about that.
Where Vanderbilt was bad last year, they were bad in the back end. I know nobody could guard LSU last year,
right?
But I mean, they had some players on the defensive front, and it just turned into a track meet. And we know that Derek Mason, historically, they've been decent on defense, right? And they got after Texas A&M. How many times do you want me to say it? A&M returned 17 starters and a quarterback from a year ago. They returned Isaiah Spiller, who we all thought was going to be a pretty good back.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Vanderbilt, with a true freshman quarterback on the road, they're hanging around late in the fourth quarter in this football game.
Stutter and Bob says LSU's defense is better than last year, so Mississippi State's offense must be better than LSU's offense from last year. That quote is kind of hung around on Ogeron, who at times maybe is a little bit. I think Scott Woodward said it in regard to some of the coaches. He said sometimes coach is a little too candid, which I'm fine with that. Okay, if he, but He did say it. He thought that the defense was better. It may be what he's more comfortable with. It is not better, and not today for sure.
No, and again, you saw your nickel and dime package without Derek Stingley. I mean, some of it, right? What I keep going back to is that I think LSU went out there and said, we're going to do what we do well. The heck with what they do. When all of the film and the research on how to handle air raid offense is the direct opposite. You can mix it and you can get after them. And obviously there was some big-time feast plays, and there were a lot of hurries and a lot of pressures on Costello being a new quarterback. But you're young, raw, and you got a kid. Evans didn't make the flip chart. He didn't make the flip card. And his technique he struggled in this football game. Let's call it what it is.
Sterling says it seems like a lack of depth with this team, especially on the O-line, the offensive line depth. Can this be fixed in the next 1 to 2 years? The depth on the offensive line, it seems like it can go south in a hurry. So last year, you had going into camp, I want to say 17 offensive linemen, scholarship offensive linemen. And the year that Orgeron took over, I think they started camp with 9 or 10. So they had done a good job of building the depth. And then, well, what happens to you? Lloyd Cushenberry goes pro early. Sadiq Charles goes pro early. You get an injury to Cordell Thomas, who was a top recruit and basically didn't practice until the very end of the year. You get an injury to Thomas Perry, who was another guy that they had recruited and hoped to work into the 2 deep. It doesn't work either. Cole Smith started the game at center for Mississippi State. He was an LSU recruit. He was on campus. He transferred out. He had some off-the-field stuff. But it can go in a hurry, okay? And then all of a sudden you got to go start looking for a transfer, and you get the transfer. But you get 1 or 2 guys hurt, and all of a sudden, you start looking at people that haven't played. And Cam Wire was, like I said, a pretty well-recruited guy, but he hasn't played. Dummerville, Marlon Martinez are guys that they love for the future, but they've been on campus, for 3 months, and offensive linemen need more time than that to develop. So it's amazing how quickly it can go south on you, Gordy, because last year that was something that we had talked about so many times. More linemen, because they had gotten so thin, and he built it back up, and it's like, oh, look, there's 17 guys, and then you come back here, bada bing, bada bang, a couple guys go pro, 1 guy transfers out, 2 guys get hurt, and bummer.
Look, he's recruited well. They've recruited well on both lines, and that's something that's a change from the Miles era. I go back to Florida years ago, and we had all those games at Florida. We had all freshmen on the football field. LSU had all freshmen up on the football field at one time in an SEC football game, pivotal SEC football game against Florida.
And then what was the game? Was it the first game or the second game of the 2 in a row where, and this is the defensive line, but Locatour and Gilmore played the whole game.
Yeah, no, that's right.
It was an afternoon game, and they played about 75 to 80 snaps apiece, and at the end of the game, looked like they had been run through the corn picker. I mean, it was tough. They've done a better job of that. This particular group has taken some hits. Who is the actual number 2 quarterback? Okay, so actually he talked about that today, and here's what Orgeron had to say about that.
For those guys, I mean, really, Max came in and TJ came in and worked hard. Both of them are able to go in the game. It all depends what defense we're going to see. It all depends what type of game it is. But right now, both of them are capable of going in the game, and I think he'll do very well.
Well, this was such a good answer for him, and I'll tell you why. Because he didn't answer the question. He did a very good job of not answering the question. When you got 2 quarterbacks in the same class, we've seen this happen so many times. As soon as you announce it, one's ahead of the other one, then the second guy's out the door. Okay, or at least starts looking out the door. We've seen that, not just I'm not talking about just at LSU. We're talking about across college football. Go into the transfer portal any day, and you're going to see a whole bunch of quarterbacks that fell behind somebody that was their age or younger. So he hasn't actually said the depth chart. The official depth chart has a T.J. Finley or Max Johnson on it, and he just says there it depends on the defense. It doesn't depend on the defense. He knows. He's just not going to tell you, and I wouldn't either. I thought he did a great job of playing defense on that question.
Yeah, and look, I'll talk now because I saw the scrimmages, and I didn't want to say anything before, before the first football game. What I will tell you is they rotated both of these guys with the twos, as you would expect.
Sure.
And what I was really impressed with is that I think Max Johnson's a little bit better athlete than I thought he was. And TJ Finley was much more accurate than what the film I remember 2 years ago at him at Ponchatoula. That being said, the thing that jumped out at me in the first scrimmage especially, I thought both of them were more decisive with their decision, throwing the football and making decisions than Miles was. Now, Miles made a lot of improvement to the second scrimmage from the first scrimmage. And I'm not calling for, I mean, it's
Sure.
they're in all the film and all. But I think both of them are capable, if called upon, to come on and play. I like the way that they performed in these scrimmages. Now, they're true freshmen, and it is what it is. You wind up putting them in the SEC. But I think it is relatively close. Now, does he know he's going to put in? Does Steve and those guys know they put in? Absolutely.
He runs this pretty well. You remember when Burrow first got here, and Ogeron played up the competition all throughout the camp to the point where they got down, I think it was 10 days before the opener, and he said, well, to this point in camp we've had, and it was a ridiculous number because it was just completely, it was an odd number. It was like, we've had 927 snaps in camp so far, and Burrow's taken 465 with the ones, and Brennan's taken 464 or whatever. It was within one snap, and it was over 900 snaps or whatever, just to keep them. But now this was a couple of weeks after he had lost McMillan and Narcisse, so he was very conscious of the fact he had two quarterbacks on scholarship and anybody else to leave. Well, right now he wants both of those guys engaged, and there's no reason that either one of them has to play anytime soon unless Brennan gets hurt. So, like I said, I thought that was really savvy what he did there.
But you mean he didn't say what was on his mind and just come out and say it?
Yeah, well, if you come out,
right?
Once you give a name,
Yeah,
then you kind of committed.
Look,
at
once
that
you
point.
win a national title, you can come out and you can speak your mind, right?
James wants to know why they're not running the same plays from last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I mean, some of the plays are the same. Why no motion, right? And I think why some of the, like we talked about, some of the choice routes where it seemed like to me it was more simplified. And I'm guessing because you have a new quarterback in there.
Brian wants to know, how did Mo Hampton play Saturday?
I thought Mo Hampton played all right. I mean, there were some missed tackles in the secondary.
There was one missed tackle that he usually takes very good angles when we've seen him. There was one where he missed a play that cost him about 30 yards.
The one that jumped out was a Kylan Hill touchdown, in which you had obviously the Todd Harris missed tackle.
That's on Harris, yeah.
And he had also 3 loafs. You know what a loaf is when you don't hustle?
Yeah.
There were 3 loafs on that play where people thought that Harris had them and they weren't running. They weren't running full speed, and it was an uh-oh moment, and guess what? It was too late.
That's a bad look in the film room. That's when you want to hide under the desk if you get caught in that one. 499-9898 is the number, or get with us in the Bayou Ford chat, either on YouTube or Facebook. This is the Tiger Zone, presented by LeBears on Eagle 98.1.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare, for Kelly.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
Eagle 98.1.
And we're back here on the Tiger Zone. Charles HANAGRIFF, Gordy Rush, taking your questions in both the YouTube chat and our Facebook page. We're brought to you by LeBair's Baton Rouge. 25% off all lunch specials Monday through Thursday at both the Bon Ton Buffet and the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill for all active or veteran military or those over 50 years of age. 25% off of all your lunch or dinner purchases during normal business hours. That's at LeBair's Baton Rouge. All right, we've been in the YouTube chat. Let's switch over to Facebook. Now you got some questions there.
Oh, first off, so a question. Of course, I'm not ready for you. Miles' arm was hit on the first interception, and McMath was wide open for a touchdown. That play, if pocket's clean, no question.
Yeah, it was.
You saw you saw the TV cut on that, right?
Yes, it's a walk-in touchdown. He's wide open.
Wesley Randall, wanted to be more aggressive attacking defense. That's what we did. 5 sacks and 4 turnovers. I feel why Pelini didn't come out. Man, yeah, exactly. I think the touchdown by Jabril Cox was a little bit of fool's gold. I mean, it put some pressure on him. He threw the mesh route behind the receiver. He made
Cox
a nice play on it. Makes a nice play
on the ball.
And catches that. And you just can't do that the whole game. That's that becomes my point of that. And then also, when you're running that tempo, that pace, it's designed to wear you down. And I can't say enough, Charlie, the whole mentality of a defensive back, and I'm playing bump and run, and they just lull you. They run mesh, they run mesh, they run mesh, they run mesh, they run mesh and go. And you get used to it, and it's tough. And it becomes you haven't played 60 plays like that under that sort of scrutiny. There was one other in here that said, hey, do you think that here we go. Does LSU need to commit to running the football for our stable running backs? No question.
Yeah.
That was one of the strengths of this team coming in. And look, you've got some skilled people at receiver, but you've got Curry, who proved to have a nice game against Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's not let's not confuse them with being one of the best defenses, a top-tier SEC defense. But then you also have 2 4-stars, 5-stars, whatever Emory and Davis are, that are beasts. I mean, they're fantastic football players. You got to get them going.
I don't think there's any question about it. This was Ogeron talking about that a little bit. That he's talking about the offense and talking about Brennan's day, and we get to the running part.
Yes, especially the first half. It didn't look like we dropped ball. We weren't protecting. We couldn't get any third down. Nobody looked like nobody was open. Miles was holding the ball. Hey, no excuses, man. We got to get better, and the execution was not there, no question. I think it was a combination of both. To be honest with you, there were too many guys free, so that's protection. But there were some times where he could have stood in the pocket and got rid of the ball a little bit quicker, and he didn't do it. And so I think it was a combination of both of them.
And I thought it was on the back end of that where he said we need to run the football a little bit more.
No question.
A different
has to
clip.
run the football. And look, I don't want to make this a Miles bashathon, right? And so there were things there was things he did well, right? And obviously he hit some big passes, and he stepped up in the pocket at times, and he hit receivers, and they dropped the ball. Marshall dropped that slant in between zones that nobody dropped, right, a year ago. Yeah. Emery, the ball was a little bit behind him. There was a little dump down. There were balls to be caught out there. Gilbert, dropped the ball. And so there was enough to clean up all around offensively. I think I go from this, and everybody wants to post the statistics and what have you. Did you feel more comfortable about the quarterback position after Joe Burrow's performance against Miami and Arlington, or Miles Brennan's performance against Mississippi State?
How did I feel right after the game? I can tell you how I felt after each one of those games. I can't tell you that it's fair to compare the two performances. When Burrow quarterbacked that game against Miami, in which the stats were very, very modest,
right,
I felt so much better about the quarterback position because of, and I'm sorry, it had been so bad for 4 years. I mean, it had just been absolutely atrocious. And I thought, okay, this kid can play a little bit. I don't know if he's going to be, great or anything, but it's just, hey, listen, he's got a little bit of something to him. Maybe he can get the offense going a little bit. The second thing is, how do I feel after Brennan's performance? Well, I don't feel like they're better at the quarterback position, but I really have tried my best not to compare him to Burrow. It's simply not fair.
And I think my point is that I don't think you can look at the statistic line because the games were different.
Very different.
A little bit. The games were different, and Burrow didn't have to come out and wing the football.
Special teams killed Miami that
Absolutely.
night.
And defense. There was a pick six as well in that
Mm-hmm.
game. And so I think there's improvement offensively around the board that needs to be made, right? And let's stop the quarterback comparisons. I'm with you, and I think it's important to point out the offense scored 24 points in that game.
Yeah. Well, the offense scored 24 points in this game if you want to get right down
No, 24 in this one.
Oh, in this game. You're talking about this.
I'm talking about the Mississippi State game.
I thought you were talking about
And then we had one
Miami.
other question, and look, I'm not crazy about the hurry in the goal line in which you line up quick and you give it to the back, and it worked more times than it did last year. I'm just a huge fan of I love spreading the football field down in the red zone. Give yourself a whole lot of space, and it creates better running lanes. And you force, especially if you go five wides, you're going to put one or two people in limbo, right? They either got to go cover Eric Gilbert or they got to commit to the run game. And Miles can key on somebody like that and hand off the football.
Can I ask it a different way? I just thought of it like this. Yep. What if to open the 2018 season, LSU would have had this game and Miles Brennan would have had this game? The year that they opened up against Miami and Dallas, they opened up with this game. What do you think the post-game reaction would have been? Because I think I know. It would have been, damn, we lost, but we found a quarterback. He threw for 345 today. I mean, back then, throwing for 345 was like you just found Johnny Unitas.
Right.
But now it doesn't feel like that. If you send Brennan up to play Miami and they have this exact game and they lose by this exact score with this exact stat line, the first call of the post game would have been, HANAGRIFF, I know we lost and we made some mistakes, but we found a quarterback.
Yeah. Look, and somebody writes in, you got to love Go Tigers. It's a ballsy name in the Tiger Zone in the YouTube huddle.
That's unique.
The defense lost the game. I can't still believe people are blaming Brennan. There was enough to go around. Mississippi State was a better football team. They executed at a higher level on both sides of the football in this game. So there was enough blame to go. go around. State was a better team on Saturday.
Here's a question from Alex. I read where Corey Foreman was in Baton Rouge last Saturday. Would not be surprised if he was. And Julie says, I hope prospective recruits aren't scared away. In the time that I've covered recruiting, and I don't cover it day to day the way I did 20 some odd years ago, but from every recruit I've ever seen, you almost never see a game result make their top 10 reasons for doing something. And if it was just about winning every game, then what? Only a handful of teams would get would get all the recruits. If you ever see something where a prospect goes in, team doesn't play well, first thing that goes through his mind is, I can play earlier.
Yeah, you have that side comes out, and then the other side, everybody's talking about the loss because it was a loss. 11-19, pretty good football players.
Yeah,
I don't know where you talk to Detillier more than I do, but I'm not an NFL analyst. But they're going in rarely, if not the first. They're going pretty high. I mean, there's some impressive football. Stevens obviously is in that box as well. Front seven, by and large, playing that defense. I was pleased with the way the front seven played.
Recruiting, in my experience, overwhelmingly about two things: relationship with the coaches and geography.
Yeah.
Those two things went out way more than, and then I would add, when I say relationships, I'm talking about relationships with the player and the coaches and the parents and the coaches, okay? Relationships and geography, I would put 1 and 1A, and everything else it falls by the wayside. Occasionally you got a girlfriend that's going somewhere or a brother that's going somewhere and you want to follow them, but most of the time it's geography and it's relationships.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. And look, I mean, look at Maryland. Look at the kids, what happened to LSU with Maryland last year.
We'll take a break. We'll take a look at what happened in the SEC this past weekend because we get nothing but conference games this year. You don't get to skip anything. It's not, they're playing the Citadel this week, we can skip over that one. No, nothing but conference games. We'll do that next. This is the Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Eagle 98.1.
With Auburn, Kentucky. All right. Okay. Who's A&M got?
This is Tyke on Eagle 98.1.
All right.
The scoreboard from last week is what we wanted to talk about. We got a little bit caught up with the game here during the break. So the early games in the league last week, Georgia really struggled in the first half. Now Georgia's gone through multiple quarterback. I'm gonna just call them quarterback scenarios this offseason. So first it was going to be Jamie Newman, and then he opted out. Then it was going to be JT Daniels if he got cleared, and then he got cleared by the NCAA, but he didn't get cleared by the doctor, so he wasn't ready. So then it was DeJuan Mathis, and Mathis went out and just stunk up Fayetteville in the first half. So they yank him with a 7-5 score, and they put in the law firm of J. Stetson Bennett IV.
Yes, I love him.
And the law firm did well in the second half, and Georgia pulled away. Arkansas doesn't have enough. I'm here to tell you that JT Daniels is going to get his shot very, very quickly. I hadn't seen what Kirby Smart has said, but to play Auburn this week, and you know, man, I see Georgia and Auburn playing football, and I'm thinking, man, it's time to do shopping for Thanksgiving dinner. But
right.
no, not this year.
And we're usually that's right. It's after our Alabama game.
Yeah, so. it's always late. But Georgia didn't look very good, but Arkansas looked better than because my expectations of Arkansas were beneath the floor, and they hung around for a half. So I think that you're going to see JT Daniels quickly this week.
Well, no question. I mean, this football game, because if not, with Bo Nix and Auburn, with him returning, that's a difference maker. Obviously, they did some good things against Kentucky offensively with Chad Morris in there. And Kevin Steele's one of the best in the conference defensive coordinator-wise. If you don't have good quarterback play, he's going to take away that Georgia running game. So I'm with you 100%. I think you see Daniels in this one.
Now, Bo Nix's stat line looks good. He threw 3 touchdown passes. He didn't throw any interceptions. Auburn pulled away in the second half and won the game by 16 points. But Kentucky made some big mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
They made the one that would have been a pick six right before the half. They got kind of bailed out on the targeting penalty. They had another turnover in Auburn territory. 2 of the 3 touchdown passes that Nix threw, Seth Williams flat out bailed him out. Okay, one of them he goes up the ladder in between 2 defenders and makes an unbelievable catch, and the other one is a fade route where he's behind the defensive back and the ball is underthrown, and he reaches over the defensive back and makes the catch in front of the defensive back and pulls the ball back over his head. The defensive back by the name of Kelvin Joseph, by the way. So neither one of these balls was particularly well thrown, but give him credit for that. What surprised me the most is Auburn couldn't run the football.
Yes, and that was the question with Whitlow going away, and he was out of there. It was a question mark. The question mark they were having at the running back position, and what was Morris going to do? when Malzahn was there, the key, and when he won, they were able to run the football, and the quarterback was able to run. Well, Nix could run a little bit, And so that was my question going into the season, and they had lost their entire offensive line.
I just figure LSU, Alabama, and Auburn are just going to churn out running backs.
Yeah.
Every year you're going to have a guy that's going to play professional football.
You
and,
should.
Right.
Look at
exactly.
LSU's. You got to feel good about 2 of those 3 winding up on an NFL roster currently on LSU's.
So I was surprised that they were not able to run the football better. So you're Kyle Trask, right, for Florida, and you throw 6 touchdown passes, throw for 416 yards, and you can't even get a lousy SEC Player of the Week award because of what Costello did.
Right.
But they hung half 100 on Lane. But this was an entertaining football game because what I saw Lane Kiffin do reminded me a great deal of what he did with Jalen Hurts as a freshman at Alabama. The offense had a lot of horizontal to it, and they would go side to side, but they were effective with it.
Mm-hmm.
They were comfortable with it. It was a low-risk, high-reward type of deal, and they've got some guys who could make some plays. And Corral, I thought, was excellent. It looked like he was very, very comfortable in what they asked him to do, so much so that Rice Plumlee ended up in the game as, I don't want to say a decoy, but as a second quarterback just in the game, and they split him out. They lined him on the back. They did all kinds of things with him. So Ole Miss is going to be fun to watch because Kiffin is Kiffin, and Playboy Marty, he's getting ready to do Dear Mr. Fantasy here in a little bit.
Love that show.
If you're Ole Miss, they're going to score points. You're not going to stop many people. I'm thinking overs with Ole Miss.
No,
Probably not going to be a bad
I'm
idea.
with you. You knew that was going to be the case. You knew Ole Miss was bad on defense. It's going to take some time from the recruit and get some players in there.
Mm-hmm. Tennessee and South Carolina was maybe the most back and forth game. Not terribly well played. Nothing exciting as far as the monster plays or things like that. You don't see a whole lot of stars out there. But these are 2 programs that are, in my opinion, basically even. If they played 10 times, I could see each team winning 5, but there's a different feel because Tennessee finished last year so good, and there's a feeling that Tennessee is on the way up and South Carolina's coach is on the way out. And I don't know that that either one is necessarily 100% true because, again, I watched most of this game while we were doing post-game, and it looked to me like a very, very fair fight, very, very even matchup. But Tennessee won the game.
Yeah, and the big surprise for me is the scoreline, 31-27. When you think about Will Muschamp, usually his teams struggle on offense, and defensively they're pretty sound. And Tennessee found a way in the back half of 2019 to score some points.
And, of course, we've already talked about Vanderbilt and Texas A&M. And neither one of us saw very much of Alabama, Missouri. That game was on. I wasn't paying a lot of attention to it because Alabama came out and seized control.
Right.
Midway through the second quarter, the issue has been decided, and I thought that the points that Missouri scored at the end were largely cosmetic.
They were cosmetic, and A&M Vandy was on at the same time, so I watched that one.
Back to the phone lines. 499-9898 is the number. Josh is in Baton Rouge. Josh, welcome into the Tiger Zone.
Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. 2 questions. I really need an answer on both, please. Gordy, I wonder if you talked to Skip or if we could hear from Skip about the buffet at Tiger Stadium. Please, please, please. And also, I saw Siaki Ika really do damage in the first quarter or first half, so much so that he was so aggressive to where I think that guard let him just bull forward and let him fall on his face a couple times. But, man, he blew up the guys a la Glenn Dorsey. So wondering how he's looking and the tackle position overall, the 2 tackles is looking, but especially Ika. And also I'd like to hear from Skip. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks. I'll let Skip talk in a second. The tackle position, I like Ika. I think he's a good player. I think he'll get better the more he plays. No Glenn Logan.
Right.
And, when they put Neil Farrell in the game, he makes 2 plays immediately. And then they give a close-up on it and say, here's Neil Farrell, 320 pounds. If he's 320 pounds, I'm a figure skater, okay? He's a big, big man. This is what happens when you're out of the program for a month. He's out of shape. Now, when he's in there, he can make plays, but you can't count on him at this point for, I wouldn't think, extended snaps. That'll come as the season goes along.
Not in that game with that tempo and all the above. Look.
No.
It's hard to grade the defensive linemen in this game because they didn't play.
Right.
I mean, you played dime, you played nickel. I think Jacoby Stevens had more snaps as a 3-tech than any other defensive lineman on the field. You could argue.
And give them credit;
right?
they're the number 1 rush defense in the country, right?
Yeah, 9 yards. I gave somebody.
D-line did something good.
I gave somebody a game ball, and I said, best rushing defense in had to be one of the top defensive performances in school history against the run.
Greg is in Mississippi. Greg, welcome into the Tiger Zone.
Ooh, you forgot me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go
I'm
ahead
sorry.
to Greg.
We'll get
I'm
back to
working
that.
on it.
Yeah. Go ahead,
All
Greg.
right, guys. All right, guys. I always enjoy calling you in. Now that Leach has got his win, I want to know what's the revised potential win-loss total for State this year. I took them at the casino. It was only 4.5.
Oh wow!
But right now, I would think. Wouldn't you think maybe A&M and Auburn both being in Starkville would be probably toss-up advantage? Maybe State. I don't know about Georgia and Alabama, but maybe 7-3 for Leach. And wonder why people wouldn't look at the Washington film against Washington State, or even if you went back to Oklahoma,
I'm with you.
because they have success with them. They were running the same plays. I'm just curious what you're thinking. You got Brule from your backwoods down there in New Orleans. How did he get out in LSU and get him? Because he was huge on Saturday.
Yeah,
you guys have a great show.
Thank you, Greg. Rummel guy. You're not the only person to ask me that. They liked other guys better is all I can tell you. Arkansas should be a win. Missouri should be a win.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt should be a win. You're not going to win in Tuscaloosa. You're not going to win in Athens. So your toss-up games are Kentucky, A&M, and Ole Miss. And I would even say Auburn at home. I think they've got a chance to win. So I got you with 3 sure wins, 2 sure losses, and 4 other games that are 50-50. So if you take half of those, what does that get you to? That gets you to 6.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Yeah,
I think I'm interested to see. I don't think we'll see till week 3. They go to Kentucky and how A&M, Alabama, and 4 and 5 they're going to defend them. I think they're obviously going to learn some lessons from this past week, and let's see. And I think, I'm still not sold on Mississippi State defensively, and I don't think they're terrible. Don't get me wrong, but this isn't the group that had Sweat in 2 years ago where they statistically, were fantastic, and it's going to be hard for them to be statistically great with that offense because they're going to score points and they're going to run tempo and all the above.
There was a buffet.
Ooh, look, COVID. There's no buffet, Ron. I'm looking for rants. Ooh, there's no buffet right now because of COVID. Everything's prepackaged.
To get a little bit of a discount, right? Bob is in Baton Rouge. Bob, welcome into the Tiger Zone.
Yes, I had a couple questions for you guys. So talking about going forward with college football, so it affects LSU. So what do you guys think about the 10-game SEC schedule, and then how it affects the college football playoff?
Oh wow! Thanks, Bob. We could do a whole week's worth of shows on how it affects the college football. I know that the commissioners of the ACC and the SEC are already laying the seeds of we playing more games, and that should count when the playoff comes around. And I would be doing the same thing. Now, if Ohio State takes their 8 games and wins them by a margin of 25, then it's not going to matter if somebody out of the SEC went 10-1. Maybe lost in the SEC championship game. They're not going to get in over an undefeated Ohio State, but they might get in over a Pac-12 team that goes 7-0. I would hope that they would, but you don't know. You'd think that the Big 12 champion right now, from what I've seen from Texas and Oklahoma, which is supposed to be the class of that league, the Big 12 champion is probably going to have 2 losses, whoever that ends up being. So, man, it can go a lot of different ways, but I think number of games should definitely count. It should matter.
Look, all bets are off the season.
I'm speculating. I don't know for sure.
Look, we had an NFL game cancel this week, right? Is everybody gonna get the same equal number of games? And there's so much this year that expect the unexpected, right?
Thousands of fantasy football commissioners are trying to figure that out right now.
Here's the deal, though. But I'm with you. By the way, I need to go get Derrick Henry off of fantasy. I have him. I'm actually playing fantasy this year.
So are you gonna? If they play on Monday or Tuesday, is he going to count towards this week?
I don't know.
What do?
Marty, where are they playing this week?
Yeah.
All right. That's why I'm going to watch.
Yahoo's made a ruling? Okay.
Dear Mr. Fantasy.
Dear Mr. Fantasy.
Yes,
right,
I am.
finish. Okay.
Next. But I do think it changes, Charlie. And I think the landscape's going to change dramatically, and that it's going to – the TV's going to want to play the hits and the hits of the top 5 conferences. And so what happens to your FCS and I mean your subdivision and all that stuff.
So if he's asking if moving forward, the 10-game SEC schedule this year is done out of necessity, is that going to be something moving forward? I'll tell you that a 9-game SEC schedule is not something that I'm in favor of because I don't like the imbalanced schedule. But it's going to depend on one thing, whether it's 9 games, 8 games, 9 games, or 10 games, and that's money.
Right.
So what these teams have sacrificed is non-conference pay games where they're paying a team to come in where they can rake a full gate. And they rake in a full gate even if they don't have a full stadium because the tickets are sold, the seat licenses are sold. I mean, you're going to take a little hit in concessions when you play Utah State, but you're still going to make all of your donation money from your seat licenses and all of your ticket sales. ESPN or somebody has to come in and make it worth their while and come in and say, listen, we can sell more if we play 2 more SEC games every year, and we can make it financially worth your while to play that so we don't have to play all of the Auburn-Akron games. We don't have to play the LSU Texas San Antonio games. If they can make that work, then one day that may grow some legs. And maybe they look at it this year. Maybe at the end of 10 games, the coaches look at it, and the coaches have, for the most part, been against this because they can get to 8 games and they can get to the playoff and then get to a good bowl game and all that stuff. If you do this, you're just going to create job security problems. That's why the only guy that's come out publicly for it is Saban, who has no job security issues at all. You're going to have to put it in front of athletic directors and school presidents, and you're going to have to say 2 things. Number 1, you can make more money doing this, and number 2, you can do it safely. So if they get through this year and they go, hey, you know what, not all that bad, and we generated more interest, and now we can generate more revenue, and let me tell you something, every athletic program in the Southeastern Conference, nay, in the country, is going to be looking for more revenue come 2021. They're already doing that.
No question.
So if you're ESPN and you can make a deal to make that worth their while to where they can start to recoup some of their losses from this year, then yeah, I think it's on the table. Without it, if it's just you saying, hey, it's a competition thing, then it's dead on arrival.
Whose TV contract's up right now being negotiated?
CBS.
Right.
You got 3 years left on it, but they're willing to jump out early.
Right.
So that's the big one.
And so Disney, ABC, looking, right?
Yeah.
They're looking for this, and that now they've got the Premier League in the SEC that's sitting there. Now's the time for the discussion, and I'm just with you. What happens to a TV show that's on Thursday nights that has crappy ratings?
It gets canceled.
It gets canceled. Who wants to see LSU, Texas, San Antonio?
Nobody. The Texas San Antonio parents and the parents of the backup players for LSU because they're going to get in the game. NBA ratings through the bubble are down.
Right.
Okay. Major League Baseball ratings not there. Okay. The NFL ratings, I'm still kind of in a wait and see on that one.
I am too.
They're up right now, but when we put people back in the stands and that little bump goes away, we'll see what those. Ultimately, I think the NFL ratings will be fine. But did you see the rating that LSU and Mississippi State did on Saturday afternoon? And it's not LSU, Alabama, and it's not Florida, Georgia. It's not Auburn, Alabama. It's LSU, Mississippi State. Oof. And it's like it's this monster number. So if they look at that and go, man, we want more of this and less of that, and we're willing to pay for it.
That's right.
And you get through 10 games, and you get a group of athletic directors that said, not that bad. I'm willing to take a check.
With you 100%.
Take a break. We'll be back. This is the Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Do you know the proper way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in your office? We do. We're Janney King, a leader in the cleaning industry for over 30 years, and we've developed comprehensive programs to address proper cleaning and disinfection. We have experience in applying disinfecting programs in hospitals, office buildings, schools, and other venues. Now we're ready to help and able to assist customers that need disinfecting services.
Janney King, the king of clean.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1. Let's get to the schedule here real quick, and we'll turn it over to Dear Mr. Fantasy. South Carolina at Florida Gators, 17.5 at home.
I like the Gators.
Yeah.
Gators are powerful right now.
Good. Tennessee at home against Mizzou. Vols 11.5.
No field. Didn't see Missouri. I don't think I've seen Missouri since they played in the SEC, except the year they played here.
That seems a little bit much to me, but probably
that
not
SEC
a strong
championship
film.
one year. Two times I've seen them play.
A&M at Alabama tied, 17.5 point favorite.
Got to go Alabama. I mean, A&M, not an impressive debut.
Kellen Mond looks the same. He looks.
Kellen Mond's had
same.
one good game in his career, and that was a 7 overtime game.
And even some of those calls were a little bit dubious. Ole Miss at Kentucky. This to me is, other than Auburn, Georgia, is the most intriguing game of the weekend.
Well, Ole Miss is going to score points, right?
Kentucky 6.5 at home. I'm sorry.
I kind of like Ole Miss on catching those points.
I kind of like the over. I'm an Ole Miss
I'm
over
with
guy.
You. Ole Miss is not good on defense, right?
So Auburn and Georgia. Georgia's a 6.5 point favorite. We think JT Daniels in this game to start.
Give me Auburn. Georgia's going to be one-dimensional on offense. I like Kevin Steele, at least keeping this game close.
Catch the points, yeah. Georgia to win it by a field goal, maybe.
I'll take that.
Reasonable. Arkansas's at Mississippi State. Bulldogs an 18-point choice.
Didn't get a good look at Arkansas, but obviously State, we've seen what they can do on offense.
They ran out of gas. They're competitive in the first half, ran out of juice. They don't have a lot of weapons on offense. And LSU's a 20-point favorite against Vanderbilt, which
can't bet on that.
Take your
I'm out.
Take your best choice. Stadium Sports Bar and Grill at La Berge. Monday nights, half off margaritas, draft beer, and nachos. Thursday nights, buy one tower beer, get one tower free. 25% off lunch and dinner Monday through Thursday at the Bonton Buffet and Stadium Sports Bar and Grill for veterans of the military, active military, and those over 50 years of age. 25% off lunch special there. And all new My Choice members starting tomorrow get their choice of free slot play, a free bet, or free food credit in the first 48 hours. For Brittany and Abby running the board, for Playboy Marty, for Gordy Rush, I'm Charles HANAGRIFF saying thank you and good evening. Stay tuned on